The recent moves would, the recent trend for lower or lesser geopolitical tensions will continue.
So Daryl, in your opinion, what is the risk from a Trump presidency on relationships between China and the United States?
Well, I think back when Trump first got elected, if you base on his election rhetoric, there were a lot of concerns that protectionist measures were going to come through. But thankfully, so far this year, though these kind of tensions have moderated significantly, especially after the March meeting between President Xi and President Trump, looks like they're going to be kind of working on some sort of bilateral agreement to reduce the trade deficit. So actually, tensions have been has come down, has cooled significantly. So hopefully things will remain that way for the years to come.
And if you actually look at the map here of the Asia Pacific, so the focus really had been on China and US relations, but are other Asian countries, are they affected by this at all?
Yeah, I think this is more due to the emergence of China as a next superpower. And there's always going to be tensions when you've got two superpowers kind of fighting for attention to a certain degree. So we've seen that in some of the smaller Asian countries. For example, the most famous one is really President Duterte in the Philippines, because Philippines and the US have historically had a very, very close relationship. But since President Duterte's election last year, he seems like he's moving a bit away from the US and more towards China. He visited China and he's come away with some investment deals. Malaysia also, to a certain extent, has seemingly moved a bit closer to China. So there is that bit of a tension in the sense that both superpowers are trying to fight for attention, and also China also has been using kind of economic measures to kind of slap the risk of countries that haven't really fallen in line with their policies. Take South Korea, for example. With the THAAD missile systems that they're looking to bring in to South Korea, China sees that as a threat to their own sovereignty because the radar systems kind of go across into their border. And what they've done is actually they've banned Chinese tourists from going to South Korea through the travel agencies, and that's drastically affected tourists going to Korea. So there are these measures that are being played out right now. The question here is obviously whether Trump is going to use similar measures to counteract that.
Now, you mentioned South Korea a little bit there. So in light of the recent elections with President Moon, so is this going to affect ties with North Korea also?
Well, actually, President Moon is seen as being more pro-North Korea. So actually, his election probably will help ease tensions between the South and the North. In fact, one of the things, one of his recent moves is to actually stop the THAAD missiles from being installed on South Korean land. So that's actually seen as being a positive move because that will lessen the tensions between North Koreans. And now with his election as well, hopefully that negotiations and diplomacy can take over there to actually reduce the risk of a military conflict.
So overall, it seems like relations in Asia, they seem like tensions are actually becoming a bit more subdued. Would you say that's the case?
Well, in certain pockets, yes. But in others, the South China Sea discussions, for example, which hogged the headlines a year ago, that seems to have dissipated significantly over the last 12 months. Because China seems to have taken a bit of a back seat there. But then again, you've got always these other issues that will pop up. For example, tensions between Taiwan and China might rear its ugly head again. So there are going to be pockets when that might come about. So just cross fingers that the recent moves would, the recent trend for lower or lesser geopolitical tensions will continue.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing your insights with us.
Thank you.
Well, that's all from myself and Daryl, but we want to hear how you found this interview, so drop a comment in the comment box below.